Many of them have been critical of the veteran socialist leader since his election last September, saying he did not fight hard enough for Britain to stay in the European Union. They are expected to be followed by around 10 more members of the shadow cabinet later, as Labour MPs try to oust the leader amid fury over his poor performance in the EU referendum battle. Mr Benn said today that Mr Corbyn had shown little enthusiasm during the failed campaign against Brexit. He's a good and decent man, but he's not a leader, and that is the problem, said Mr Benn, ruling out standing for the job himself. But John McDonnell, the shadow chancellor, said Mr Corbyn was going nowhere. Critics moved against Mr Corbyn after he defiantly dismissed the idea of standing down, despite anger over his performance. There was also fury after he delivered a bizarre keynote speech yesterday in which he admitted that high levels of immigration had been key to the campaign, but again failed to set out a clear position on the issue. Mr Corbyn was heckled by pro-EU activists at the Pride March in London, but merely insisted he did all he could do before walking off.
It's clear from the conversations that I and many others had on streets around the country in recent weeks that immigration is a crucial issue for a lot of people and played a central role in the EU referendum campaign. Opinion polls have told us for many years that it's one of the biggest issues people face. In fact, it's been in the top 5 on opinion poll questions since 2011. Politicians are often accused of being afraid to talk about it. I'm certainly not. I believe that migration has enriched our country, our culture and our communities. And I want to thank those people that have come here. And worked so hard in our health service and many other very important caring science and transport industries. Our policies on trade, economy and migration will have to change in light of the referendum vote. But that cannot be left to the likes of Johnson, Farage and Gove. Labour will fight to ensure that our agenda is at the heart of the negotiations over withdrawal from the European Union that lie ahead, including the freedom to shape our economy to work for all, maintain social and employment protections that benefit all, and that whoever leads the government is intensely held to account, to democratic account throughout the whole process.
The Labour leader is said to have refused to appear with David Cameron during the EU referendum campaign, despite being begged by senior staff. Gordon Brown, the Labour Prime Minister, whom Cameron vanquished in 2010, was also sent to plead with Corbyn to change his mind, according to the magazine Politico. Labour also apparently refused to share its voter registration lists with the stranger in, fearing the Tories would steal the information for the next general election. Mr Corbyn's panicky decision to dismiss Mr Benn after reports of plotting brought forward the plan for a shadow cabinet exodus. It's not the first time Mr Benn and Mr Corbyn have clashed, with the former frontbencher having defied his leader by backing Conservative-led plans for airstrikes against ISIS in Syria.